I was actually never really going to talk about this on YouTube, that there are actually a lot of people out there kind of feeling the same way. Now what? Like, I don't know what to do. Essentially, I thought I had it all mapped out. Why would I just sit there and write out my feelings? Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Megs, and thank you so much for clicking on today's video. So in today's video, I wanted to kind of come clean with what's been going on in my life and how I feel really lost actually in life. I was actually never really going to talk about this on YouTube, but you know what? Like, I already decided to share part of my life with you guys, and so I feel like why not just share actually what's going on, because I'm going through this weird period in my life. For the longest time, I'd say for probably this last year and a half, I have felt super duper lost, and it has gotten really bad in the last, I'd say 2 months, where it actually has kind of consumed my entire life. Not that it was something that I should be ashamed of, but it was something that I just didn't want to talk to people about, because I felt like I would just figure it out, it would all come together, and then it really, like I said, started eating me up. I felt like I wasn't making progress in my life in the way that I necessarily wanted to make progress in my life. Then I slowly started opening up about it to some people in my life, some friends and my partner, and realized that there are actually a lot of people out there kind of feeling the same way. So I figured, you know what, I'm just going to be vulnerable. I'm going to share my struggles on here, and if anything, I just want others to also feel like they're not alone and that they are valid in feeling the way that they feel, and kind of share what I've slowly been trying to do to help me figure out and navigate what I'm meant to do in my life. You start off your 20s strong, and you kind of have a vision for your life, and you feel like you're just going to achieve that certain level, and it's just going to be easy peasy lemon squeezy moving on. And then you kind of try, things happen, things don't go the way they planned, or you don't end up liking things, and then you're kind of in this point in your life where you're like, now what? I don't know what to do. What are the next steps in my life? And I feel like if you share vulnerable topics, then other people will open up and will be able to relate to you, and will also be able to feel like they are being heard, like they are being seen. And as I said, I've already shared probably the most vulnerable parts of my life here on the internet, and so in wanting to continue to share my story, this is right now a really big part of my life, and so I don't want to hide that. I want to be able to show that. Essentially, I thought I had it all mapped out. When I was in university and finally figured out kind of what I wanted to do in university, I was like, you know what, I'm going to get my degree in translation. I'm going to get a good translating job. I'm going to work that job, and to me that was kind of seen as a corporate job. So I was like, I'm going to get that corporate job. I'm going to get it right out of school. I'm going to work, and then in the evenings I'm going to do hobbies. I'm going to make good money, and I'm just going to have that cookie cutter life. And for the longest time, that was what fueled me, what excited me, and what I wanted in life. And then I obviously got sick, and that obviously completely changed a lot of stuff for me. Not in the sense of career-wise, but in the sense of just the meaning of life. What is my purpose? All these big questions. Definitely even my perspective on health, on mental health, on physical well-being, that all was completely changed when I did go through my cancer diagnosis and treatment, and then trying to slowly rebuild my life after cancer. And so I kind of realized that the lifestyle that I was living wasn't the lifestyle that was best suited for me. And so I slowly started making changes, but I still had my translation job. So I was like, I'm still going to be working my translation job, but I'm going to be, shifting my life in the evenings and the weekends, and we're going to figure it out from there. And I was having this momentum of I'm going to have my corporate job, and I'm going to do my side hustle on the weekends, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great. And then after doing translation for a few years, I just realized that it was no longer for me, and that's totally okay. It was a really hard decision to come to, just because I went to school for it, I paid for my degree, and it was a really good job, and kind of in society's eyes, it was a very good, well-paying government job. And so I was, at this crossroads between this is not what I see myself doing forever. And then I ended up having another opportunity come up for a job. And so I kind of was at the point where I was like, do I, hold on to a job that is not exactly like making me the happiest anymore, or do I try to take this new opportunity and see where it takes me? And I was also kind of burning myself out. I was working full time, I was working some overtime hours, and then I was trying to do content creation in the evenings and on the weekends, and I just felt like I was not prioritizing my health, and which a lot of you will know that from my YouTube channel, health was a huge priority for me after cancer. Don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful for what I have. Obviously, I have my health, and that is the biggest blessing of all. I have a beautiful roof over my head. I have, you know, an abundance of good things in my life. But at the root cause of it, like, I'm not fulfilled in the sense of like my dreams and my goals. With that, I wanted to share a few things that I have actually started to do to help me get there. And trust me, I am nowhere near there, but just to get there. So the first one is journaling. Obviously, I knew about the idea for the longest time, but I was just like, why would I just sit there and write out my feelings? And I just always thought it was honestly BS until, you know what? It gets to the point where I was like that desperate that I was like, I'm just gonna figure it out. How I personally got myself into it was I would just rant at first. Everything that was on my chest that I was thinking about, that was heavy on my chest, I would just write it out. That in itself was super therapeutic because I got it off my chest, and it was like, instead of ranting it out to somebody, I just ranted it to a piece of paper. I did that for a while, and just like anytime I felt triggered, I felt like very frustrated and angry, I would just sit down and I would journal it out, and then I automatically felt better. And sometimes I came up with solutions for things, or sometimes I just like felt like I had a weight lifted off my shoulder. And then I slowly began like journaling on little topics like, okay, so what am I good at? Or what genuinely right now makes me happy? Or what things am I doing in my life right now that I actually really enjoy and would like to keep going? And then kind of thinking of like, what can I do that would make me money? It's about breaking it down to small things and then just building off of that, because the big picture here is really scary and confusing and frustrating when you really don't know what to do. But then when you kind of break it down to little things and start changing little things. Another thing that I've started to do is try new things, because I realized that maybe a part of why I didn't enjoy my life is because it was like a little bit mundane, and I was kind of just doing the same things over and over and over again. And so I decided to join a new gym in my area because I'm not very self-motivated right now when it comes to working out, and I would often put that off, or I would often see it as a chore rather than something that I wanted to do. I love boxing and I love spin classes, so this gym offers both. So I'm doing that. So just trying to expose myself to new things. I'm looking at different events that are happening in my city, different things I can try out, even whether it's like online or in person, or just following different people on Instagram, just to kind of expose myself to different things and to see if there's anything else that can fill my cup. The third thing that I'm currently trying to do is what I mentioned as one of my journal prompts is, what do I love in my life right now? What is it that is going on in my life right now that I actually love and genuinely makes me happy? I realized that a lot of finding your purpose in life, I think I saw this on TikTok, it's like finding your purpose is like trying to find what the child version of you loved. You can either take it both ways, like try to figure out like, what is it that you have going on in your life right now that you love, that is a passion, that genuinely, like, if you had to do it every day, you could, and you'd do it happily. And then also just take a step back and just see like, what did the child version of me love? Because if you think about it, when we're kids, the things that make us happy, like, they usually don't have a secondary meaning to them. We as children, we don't think of like the big picture of life. We just like think about in the moment what we love and what makes us happy, and we do those things. But as we get older, as school and responsibilities start to pile up, obviously those things take a back seat, and sometimes they completely get eliminated from our lives. For me, it's also been like, what did I love as a kid? Like, what made me super excited? What did I always want to do, or what did I always want to try as a kid? Boxing. And what is it that maybe could bring me joy and kind of bring me closer to figuring out what I can do as a passion? And the last way that I've been trying to help figure out my life is to slowly start to build a routine that would complement my ideal lifestyle. And this might sound confusing, even if you're not totally clear on like what you want to do with your life, what your purpose would be. you still have an idea of like what your ideal day would look like, what your ideal morning routine would look like, or even just an idea of like what you would like to do that you don't already do. And so for me, that's like waking up early, having a structured week, having structured workouts, things like that, that are slowly helping me put together building blocks to what I would like to see my future look like. That is kind of the gist of what I've been feeling lately, and that's kind of also why I haven't been posting a lot lately. So for anyone who is feeling that same way, please just know that it does get easier. Like, let's do it together. Let's start journaling. Let's start building out our routines, and we will slowly get through that. So with that being said, thank you for listening to my rant. I'm sorry if this is a weird off-topic video, but like I said, if you share vulnerable, real topics with people, I think that that's just how we help one another out, because if we all pretend like life is all good and perfect when it's not, that's not the truth, and that's not how we're gonna help each other grow and how we're really gonna help each other develop in our own sense. And so welcome to my life. It's not perfect. Like I said, lots of gratitude for what I have in my life, but this is just something that I'm going through and want to be honest with. So again, thank you so much for watching. Know yourself, know your body, and until next time.